be your host for today's event. So, without further ado, I will have the pleasure to call Mr. Amit Tilakari to give his opening remarks. Mr. Amit Tilakari.
Bonjour tout le monde, ça va, vous allez bien? Vous êtes l'avenir, vous êtes le futur de ce pays. Vous allez voir après, ce futur n'est pas loin, c'est aujourd'hui, pour nous à la MRA. He said, I have a dream. Martin Luther King Jr., Nobel Prize laureate. We to at the MRA, we got a dream. Our dream is you. Because we want you to become full-fledged, responsible, nurtured, trained, informed citizens of this country to take over the future of this country, to lead the socio-economic development of this country as responsible citizens, affirmed citizens, nurtured, as wonderful leaders, passionate leaders of this country. And when we talk about socio-economic development, MRA plays a great role, isn't it? And that role is played through taxation. 90% of the revenue of the state is managed by the National Revenue Authority. You know, as I said before, for us at the MRA, the future is today. And that future is you. And we want to prepare you, as I said, to be affirmed, strong citizens of this country. And the taxation, before I joined the MRA, me myself, I did my career at the Mauritius Broadcasting Corporation. I joined the MRA, and I thought MRA will collect income tax. Le bien d'exercice qu'on effectue en août, septembre, octobre. Pour moi, ma perception de la MRA est limitée à cet exercice. But one day, one of my colleagues, who was a very good friend of mine, is standing behind, he said, you know what? The MRA controls punishment. At the first glance, I know, I'm fine. And then when I gave it a deep thought, it was right. MRA is present in the lives of each and every citizen of this country. So we want you to know all about this. What does the MRA do? What are the various types of taxes we administer? What are the roles of the Customs Department? Represented here by Mr. Mangla, Mr. Sanansi. We talk about border protection. We talk about trade facilitation. We find about canines, sniffer dogs. That's regarding Customs Department. But the role, the functions are many. Almost half of the employees, Mr. Monica, the HR director, we come from, almost half of the personnel, the MRA, they are the form part of the Customs Department. No? But you need to know, because when you are paying taxes, when your parents are paying taxes, you should be knowing what happens to that money. Where does that money go? And every day, for example, when we collect the revenue, when we close the office at 4:30, what happens to that money? Do we keep it in our drawers? Do we take it home? What happens to that money? And then, what about our expenses? The current expenses, the staff costs, etc. Do we take from that money to manage all those, to spend the MRA, we've got a secret mantras that we call values. MRA is an organization sustained by wonderful values, core values, transparency, responsiveness, integrity, and significance. What we do there, what about that? And our people, we've got the best qualified people in Mauritius at the MRA. Because we at the MRA, we aim at perfection. Don't say perfection doesn't exist. Perfection exists. It's the maximum degree of improvement. You got capacity building, we train our people. We invest a lot in that domain. We recruit the best, as I said. We've got opportunities. Opportunities are waiting for you at the MRA because you are going to take over them. And we will be trying. That's better. Okay? You're going to take over. So you need to know everything about the MRA. Well, without much ado, I'll give the floor to my very good friend, Dr. Dika. Dr. Dika has been with the MRA ever since the inception of the organization in 2004, I would say. The operations came into effect on 1st July 2006, but it was enacted already in 2004. So Dr. Dika, please. Thank you very much.
Next protocol, we are moving with the protocol first, is this keynote address to be given by the Acting General of the MRA, Mr. Roy Kamnawaz, but unfortunately he has been taken up and he just called to say that he will not make it today. So I request Mr. Amit Pai to kindly please bring his keynote address.
It is with pride and optimism that I welcome you today at the Integrated Customs Clearance Center, ICCC. I'd like to begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to the educators and school management for facilitating students to attend this educational tour. By bringing you here, we are investing in something greater than academic success. We are investing in responsible citizenship. Through our MRA tax clubs and outreach programs, we have already engaged more than 12,000 students across over 100 colleges, Mauritius, and Indonesia. We believe that taxation is not just a matter of concern for professionals, but also for every citizen who dreams of a stronger, fairer, and more prosperous Mauritius. Dear students, taxation is not simply about collecting revenue. It is about building a nation. It is about ensuring that every child has access to education. It is about equipping hospitals with life-saving technology. It is about funding innovation, supporting entrepreneurs, and creating opportunities. It is about protecting the vulnerable and empowering the ambitious. The Mauritius Revenue Authority collects nearly 90% of the national budget revenue. And behind this collection lies something more important than money. Trust, responsibility, and the collective effort of citizens contributing to the common good. Taxation is the price we pay for progress. It is the bridge between individual success and national development. One day, each of you will enter the workforce. Some of you will become doctors, engineers, teachers, business leaders, artists, public servants, perhaps leaders of this very institution, the MRA. As you progress, you will contribute and through your contribution, you will help build Mauritius of tomorrow. Dear students, our nation's success over the past decades did not happen by accident. Mauritius transformed itself through discipline, sound governance, and a shared commitment to fairness. Tax compliance played a fundamental role in that transformation. When citizens contribute willingly and transparently, the entire country advances. In a rapidly changing world shaped by technology, global competition, and new challenges, fiscal responsibility becomes even more critical. Sustainable development, economic resilience, and social justice all depend on a sound and trusted tax system. Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Education gives you knowledge, but character determines how you use that knowledge. Let your education empower you not only to earn, but to contribute. Let your ambition be matched by your integrity. Let your success uplift not only yourself, but your nation. Dear students, when you think of taxation, do not think only of obligation. Think of opportunity. Think of nation building. Think of the pride that comes from knowing you are helping to finance schools, hospitals, infrastructure, and innovation. You are not just future taxpayers. You are future nation builders. You're already doing that. The prosperity of Mauritius in the next 30 years will depend on the values you embrace today. Dream boldly. Work tirelessly. Act ethically. And remember, a nation rises when its citizens rise to their responsibilities. With these words, I wish you an engaging and enlightening educational tour. Take this opportunity to interact with our officers, broaden your knowledge, and actively participate in our nation's continued prosperity as the youth of today are leaders of tomorrow. The future of Mauritius is not ahead of you. It is within you, with you, in your minds. Thank you very much.
We have completed the protocol part. Now we move on to the next segment, which is the educational part. So today I'm here to tell you the story of the MRA. We are in the taxation business. So as you may be aware, taxation is the second oldest profession in the world. So I'll leave it to you to check out which was the first profession. So let's watch a video about the history of taxation since time when it started. I'm already into durations as from the 1st of July 2006. I mentioned my February. Prior to that, there existed 4 distinct revenue organizations in the name of the Income Tax Department, Noise Taxpayer Department, Customs and Excise Department, and the Primary Tax Department. So with the advent of MRA, all those 4 merged to form today what we call the one-stop shop. So whatever you have to do in terms of taxation, you have one address, MRA. Now, we are responsible to collect more than 90% of total tax that goes in the consolidated fund. So when I'm saying we are responsible to collect more than 90% of total revenue that goes in the consolidated fund, who collects the remaining 10%? Who collects the remaining 10% of the tax or of the type of revenues? You have any idea? They are the other government institution. I take one example. Let's say somebody you realize my car, he's going to register the car, and when he uses does it every year? He's going to pay the road tax, declaration. Who collects that declaration? NPA. Hello, you are paying. NPA becomes a collecting agent. Where does that money go? In the consolidated fund. You are doing overspeeding on the motorway and you are being taken up for excess speed. You are going to pay a fine. Where do you pay that? The judiciary. They collect on behalf of the state. So the 10 remaining percent is being collected by hundreds of other governmental institutions. In fact, MRA single-handedly collects 90% of revenue that goes in the consolidated fund. We administer mostly all the revenue laws and we fall under the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance. This is the organization structure of the MRA. So on top you have the MRA board, you have the Director General of the MRA. We do now his absent today. And his name is Mr. Rohit Kamlawaz. He has taken office from July last year. And we have several departments. It is functionally based. And the core business of the MRA is in the middle, the compliance department, which collects revenue. So we're going to just go through them. We have the large taxpayer department. The name self-complies, large taxpayer, which is responsible to collect taxes from large taxpayers. This is one category of taxpayers in Mauritius. So an entity which generates a revenue of more than 100 million annually is called a large taxpayer. Okay? More than 100 million annually, it is a large taxpayer. If it is below 100 million, it is medium and small taxpayer. Right? So it falls under the aegis of the medium and small taxpayer department. We have operational services, so let's say you have to apply for VAT, you have to ask for information, you have to go to the customer service counters. So these are operated by the operational services, which provide a day-to-day service. We have customs department, which is responsible to control people and goods that is coming inside the country and going outside. Amongst others, have several roles, we're going to tell you later on. We have fiscal investigations department. Again, it self-implies fiscal investigations in cases of tax evasion. So those guys are going to investigate into those cases and make the people pay the fair share of taxes. We have objections, appeal, and dispute resolutions department. I will take one simple example. Let's say the MRA issues a claim to one of your parents. Let's say, like, your parents. So they receive a claim of some rupees. Right? So what are the options? Either you agree with the claim, you come you pay, or you disagree. Right? So you have the possibility to disagree. Obviously, you should have reasonable grounds to disagree. So in case you disagree, what do? You go to the objections, appeal, and dispute resolutions department where you appeal against the decision of the law. So this is an independent department which is going to deal with the case of your assessment. So this department has the possibility to maintain it, to review it, to amend your claim as well. Let's say you are not satisfied with the determination of the objections in an appeal department. What you do? You have the possibility to go to the revenue tribunal. And this is seen as a tax tribunal. So you go there, you appeal. Again, it is going to give an award. So if you are not agreeable with the determination of the revenue tribunal, you can go to the Supreme Court. You are not satisfied with the Supreme Court, you can go to the private council. So what I want to say, there is an appeal mechanism in place. You okay with that? Let's continue. We have on your left support department, which is equally important because it provides support to the core business of the MRA. And you're going to notice that we have the information systems. So all the databases, all the systems that we have in place where we provide e-services are being taken taxes and also processes declarations of assets and liabilities. So just for you to have an idea, this is MRA. Okay? So we have approximately 1,500 employees. They are posted in the different departments according to their specialization. Right. We have our mission, which is to continually reform and modernize revenue administration in order to manage and operate an effective and efficient revenue organization comprising of highly motivated and skilled staff. Our vision is to be a world-class revenue authority respected for its professionalism, efficiency, fairness, integrity, and its contribution to our economic and social development. So as you will see, our vision is clear. We want to be a world-class revenue authority. World-class, you understand, we want to be the best, not only in the African region, but in the world. And to do so, let's take a look in the Be Ready Index. Be Ready is, the full form is Business Ready Index 2025, which is published by the World Bank. So in the last 2025 report, Mauritius is ranked as in the 17th position out of 101 countries. Right? So just for you to have an idea. And we are ranked 17th in the taxation index. Right? So this is a World Bank report. The previous year, in the 2024 index, in the report, Mauritius was ranked 5th, but it was in 50 countries only. This ranking is in 101 countries. So previous to that, prior to the Be Ready report, there is a Green Business report. So in the last report, which existed, again published by the World Bank, Mauritius was ranked 5th in case of paying taxes out of 192 countries. So just so we have an idea, when we are saying we want to be the best, we are working to be the best. This is published information, which you will verify. So why you may question yourself, why we are doing awareness sessions with students? What is the reason? Because we want to have a population which want to voluntarily pay the tax. When I say voluntarily pay the tax, they say that, why should I pay tax? But when you know whatever products and services, whatever services that the government provide, it is not free of charge. Somebody is paying for it. So who is this somebody? Somebody is a taxpayer. So when you know that somebody is actually deducting from the salary tax money which goes in the consolidated fund, then you will realize the importance of paying taxes and the importance, and you are going to value the services that you get at free of charge. So we are doing the awareness campaign for the last 10 years. We have been going to colleges, to different schools, universities, to apprise students of the importance of paying taxes, and we have made a short video just for you to see what we have been doing. So I'll ask to play the video, please.
Hello. Today's youth are tomorrow's taxpayers. It is therefore necessary that they are made aware of the importance of taxation with a view to cultivate a willingness to pay rather than an obligation to pay attitude. In that perspective, MRA resource persons are conducting talks on the importance of paying taxes in secondary schools throughout the island. The duration of the talk is around 1 hour, about topics including the role of the MRA in the Mauritian economy, taxes administered, tax collections in figures, why should we pay tax, and more importantly, how to become a compliant taxpayer. The talk is followed by a video projection and a question and answer session. During the past 3 years, the MRA has conducted 70 talks in more than 60 colleges, reaching over 5,000 students, including a few sessions via Zoom during the pandemic period when the schools were closed. It makes no doubt that our potential taxpayers are being prepared to meet their tax obligations in the future. Tax education in schools is accompanied by a survey with a view to enhance the delivery of the presentation.
Why do we pay tax? It's something that many of us are not aware of. Now that we know why we are doing it, what benefits we'll get in the future, I think it facilitates our life.
Je trouvais les bien interactifs et beaucoup à faire apprendre comment ban corporate tax nous a payé ou même ban individual tax.
I found the presentation highly impressive as it has provided us a deep insight of what the MRA is doing and also about where taxpayers' money are going and how it is being used. And I find that it is a very good initiative on the part of the MRA, and I would highly recommend each and every one of my friends to attend this presentation and benefit from it.
Je trouve que c'est très intéressant, c'est une bonne initiative parce que, par exemple, moi je suis élève d'économie et ce qu'on fait dans les livres c'est purement théorique, tandis que là on apprend vraiment ce que c'est que la taxation, comment ça se passe dans notre pays, on en apprend vraiment beaucoup plus de détails, du coup ça nous emmène beaucoup plus d'informations, ça nous permet de mieux comprendre notre pays, ce qui arrive à l'argent et surtout que nous on est étudiants, on n'en a aucune idée de ce qui se passe en vrai.
The culture of tax compliance being strengthened, it is strongly believed that there will be a definite improvement in the moral obligation to voluntarily pay taxes in years to come. You may view a series of videos on the different aspects of taxation on our website www.mra.mu. Thank you.
Societies, trusts, cooperatives, headphone, and there's a corporate tax, right? So I'm going to give you one example so that you understand how the individual income tax works. So are you aware what is the rate of income tax in Mauritius? Is this correct here? We are in the correct year, I mean, consultancies, and we are in fiscal year, so we started from 1st of June, July, 2025, and ends this is a financial year. So in the current financial year, we have three categories of taxation. The first category, so someone earning below the first 500,000 is exempt. Somebody earning below 500,000, 500,000 rupees annually is exempt. The next 500,000, the next 500,000 is taxed as a 10%. And the remainder is taxed at 20%. Right? Just need to have an idea. Now, let's say some meal. Right? I'm speaking of an annual income. So if we divide it 12 months, so say some meal divided by 13. Why 13? Because you also have bonus which is paid to employees. So bonus is compulsory. So if we divide it by 13, it gives an amount of 38,461. So for ease of explanation, let's say this amount is 38,500 or 38,500. So anybody earning below 38,500, that is 38,461. So for expansion, say, let's say 38,500. So below that amount is exempt. You understand this? So somebody earning 1 million rupee, will he pay income tax? 25 million rupee, 12 million rupee, 25 million rupee. No, 12 million rupee. Yes. Now he has crossed the threshold of being taxable. Right? So how much will he pay? 40,000 minus 38,500. Right? You get 1,500, which is a taxable amount. Okay? It should be taxed at from Senegal. So to cut short, somebody earning 40,000 right now is going to pay how much income tax? So Senegal will pay. Is it too much? Do you understand how it works? Obviously, if you are going to get more income, you are going to pay more tax. This is called the progressive tax system. You understand this? We're not going to too much detail. We have done a video on the evolution of income tax in Mauritius. So let's watch this video, please.
Hello, greetings from the MRA. Today I'm going to talk about the evolution of income tax in Mauritius. Income tax was first enacted in the year 1932 and came into operation on 1st of July 1933. However, income tax was not applied until July 1934 due to some amendments that were brought to law for a graduated poll tax. The poll tax was in fact income tax, a term that was used in certain African colonies at that time. An income tax branch was thereafter established, income tax forms were issued, and returns were received. In the first year of operations, there were some 1,165 taxpayers in Mauritius. The graduated poll tax was replaced in 1950 by a tax levied on actual income as from the year of assessment 1951-52. Other changes in the format of income tax took place over the subsequent half-century, including the introduction of pay-as-you-earn system, commonly known as a PAYE, which became effective as from July 1993. In the post-independence years, the government favored a progressive tax based on annual earnings of taxpayers. You will get more detailed information on the different categories of individual taxpayers on the MRA website www.mra.mu. Thank you.
Tax, which is value-added tax. Right? Value-added tax is an indirect tax. What is the rate of value-added tax in Mauritius right now? 10%. Right? So 15% is applied on the consumption. So value-added tax, that is a consumption tax. But does it mean that whatever you consume, you have to pay 15% in addition to the price? No, unnecessarily, because when we say that, we have three categories. We have a standard rate, which is 15%. We have a zero rate, which is 0%. And we have an exempt. So on the exempt, you don't pay income tax. On the zero rate, you don't pay income tax, VAT. And only on the standard rated products or services, you pay 15% of VAT. Right? So what does it imply? So all traders which are registered for VAT should compulsorily give you a VAT invoice. And this is an obligation on the part of the trader. So whenever you buy from a registered employee, a registered taxpayer, which is VAT registered, you have to claim your receipt. So how are you going to determine whether the trader is VAT registered or not? They are going to display this sticker. And this is a yellow sticker. It will be mainly affixed to the business premise of the trader, most probably near discussion. Have you noticed this when you went to the hardware shop, to restaurant, etc.? So now if you are more conscious about it, you may have a look. So if you have this sticker affixed on display, the trader is a VAT registered entity. So if the trader is a VAT registered entity, the trader has an obligation to give you a VAT invoice. Right? So let's say the trader doesn't give you a VAT invoice. What does it mean? Where does that 15% that he has collected from you, where does that go? In his pocket. Right? So obviously, it doesn't mean that he can take this money. We have our officers from, we have seen earlier from the large taxpayer department, from the medium and small taxpayer department, they are going to do audits. And they are going to make those people pay their share of taxes. But for the time being, the trader has cheated the MRA, has cheated the nation. Alright? So to avoid this type of cheat, you have to request the invoice from the trade. You get? Like the basic commodities like education, fruits, vegetables, they are VAT exempt. Books, they are VAT exempt, but other products are taxable at 15%. So we have been intensively doing campaigns for the VAT claiming your receipt, spots that will have been aired on the media, so I'll request just
Monsieur, s'il vous plaît, c'est un mémo, ça c'est peine reçue.
Aïe, sorry madame, attends-moi de nous un récit.
Vous trouvez, à chaque fois qu'il me fait un achat dans un commerce qui va registered, me demande un reçu. Oui, si, pas oublier demander un reçu.
Oui, toujours exige ou récit côté un commerçant qui va registered. Comme ça, il a l'obligation de remettre sa 15% TVA qui fin payer là à la MRA.
Quand on fait un achat dans n'importe quel commerce, qu'il est magasin, restaurant, quincaillerie, bijouterie, etc., côté là, ça vient de zone là, où on a pour payer TVA. Donc, pas oublier de demander un reçu.
D'après la loi, l'ONRC qui est na TVA obligé à sa bonne information là. Invoice number, VAT registration number commerçant là, date qui on fait ou achat et montant TVA qui ou fin payer.
So tax on gaming is somebody, let's say, going to gambling. The casino race courses, so you're going to pay the gaming tax. We have environment protection fee. So this is a specific fee that is being laid on certain products that causes harm to the environment. For instance, the batteries that you have on your mobile phone. So there is an environment protection fee of 75 rupees on each of those batteries. We have environment protection fee on tires. That's the cars and motor vehicles use. So those are the categories of product which have an EPF. And then you have a special levy on banks. So this is one special levy which are paid by our banking institutions. We have billboard tax. So billboard tax, when you travel, you're going to notice billboards by the side of the road. Right? You have noticed it. So the billboard owners, depending upon the size of the billboard and the places it is placed, so they pay billboard tax on that. And we also have corporate social responsibility, CSR. So all profitable organizations in Mauritius is liable to contribute 2% of their profit towards CSR activities. Right? So in case they are not doing any CSR activities, so which go to the community, they have to remit the 2% to the amount. So what we are doing, we have covered the main types of taxes that exist at the moment. Right? So we started by who we are, what we do. Now let's think about money. How much money do you think we collect? We have talked about different types of taxes. We have talked that we are responsible to collect more than 90% of total revenue that goes in the consolidated fund, but how much money are we speaking about? Any idea? How much money we are speaking that those in the consolidated fund. Annually. In the first year of operation, as we said, we started operation in 2006. So the first financial year, when the system is set, the MRA collected 34,204,000,000 rupees. Right? En 2010, it rose to 49 milliards, 344 millions, and this figure again rose to 67 milliards, with 13 millions in 2013. And in the last financial year, that is budget side, MRA collected more than 174 billion rupees. You have an idea now, right, of what we are speaking about. And we are expecting for the financial year, let's say that this, to cross the limit of 200 million. So just for you to have an idea of how much money we are speaking about. Now, the question that arises is, where does the money go? Because of idea. Where does the money go? The 174 billion rupees, where does it go? Any idea? Right. So what happens, when you have to recollect, on a daily basis, we run it into the account of the consolidated fund. So the MRA is not responsible to keep and use the money. Whatever we collect on a daily basis is being run to the consolidated fund, which is an account of the Bank of Mauritius. Right? So the money, and where from there, where does the money go? We use it for social welfare. So as for students, you have free transport. The buses, you don't pay them. You pay the bus? Me? No, you don't pay. Well, so do you know how much money is being attributed to free transport? 1.6 billion is being attributed on a yearly basis to the transportation sector to transport students and elderly people. Just for you to have an idea. So when we are saying that transport is free, is it really free? That's the max oxygen we are breathing right now? No. Somebody is paying. Who is that somebody? Your parents, your teachers, all employees, the businesses, they are paying. And you are benefiting. So when we are saying that we have contributed or collected 174 billion, that money comes back to us. But the only thing is that we don't see it like this. And we see it in somebody else's pocket. Because we are not collecting in terms of money, but we are collecting in terms of facilities that we get. Right? So we have also like HSCs or SCPs that those students from, I know we have private school also here that you are already paying, but the schools from government side and non-paid private institutions, you are not paying SC exams. For SC exam, who pays? The government. And just to give you an figure, per student for a SC examination, it is an average of 20,000 per student. And for HSC, it is 25,000. So you can make the calculation how much money it makes. So where does the money come from? From the consolidated, what we have just seen. Right? And those who don't pay for the school fees, the parents are not paying for school fees, except for the bus school students that we have here. Because they're private, paid school. taxes, the facilities that we already. So I request to play the video, please.
Ayo, MRA, envoie-moi encore un autre reminder. Qui fait bien payer taxes? Fouf!
Pas casse-tête, papy. Tu connais? Dans l'école, un officier MRA une fait une présentation pour montrer nous qui fait bien payer taxes. Vous connaissez te précevoir le travail. Mais tu 10 minutes avec toi pour me montrer toi qui me vient apprendre.
Bon, 10 minutes alors. Tu connais comment le trafic bloqué dans le grand matin?
Justement, papy. Quand nous causons trafic, nous causons la route. Pour capable construire plus la route pour éclairer cette infrastructure, faut que tout le monde qui a une taxe pour payer, je fais un devoir et paye cette taxe comme on besoin. Et l'autre affaire, law and order. Pour qu'il la loi respectée, qui est en présence de la police et qui nous sentit nous en sécurité quand nous voyageons et que nous allons promener. Ça aussi, c'est grâce à l'argent qui est collecté en termes de taxes par MRA. Pareil pour la santé, papy. Tout Mauricien gagne soin de la santé gratis. Et comment tu peux trouver l'eau samanzimas là? L'État est capable aussi de construire un nouveau hôpital avec l'équipement moderne. Encore un peu de patience, pas. Tu te rappelles quand Daddy racontait les Child Centre récréatif avec ce friend? Mais toi et mamie aussi, je te contribué là-dedans. Grâce à la taxe qu'ils ont payé et qui est mort et remettre à l'État. Aussi, quand Daddy a promené, il paye une pour payer bis. Ça aussi, grâce à la taxe que toi et que mamie payaient. L'éducation aussi pareil, les gratis. Et grâce à ça même qui a aujourd'hui beaucoup de jeunes fin arriver, fait une grande étude. Alors, c'est que me l'apprendre dans l'école.
Motivé, je suis fier de toi. Mais seulement, tu as oublié une affaire? Attends de me montrer toi. Bis gratis pour les enfants à l'école. Ça aussi, papa qui payait. Grâce à taxe.
Mais moi, c'est qui m'a retenu. Puis Daddy, puis c'est moi merci. Parce que grâce à la taxe qui m'a payé, tout le grand monde a un transport gratuit.
What is the role specifically of Customs Department? So they have three functions. The first one is economic function. So they also collect income tax, VAT, they collect excise duty, customs duty, and other form of duties. They are also responsible for the protection and security of the nation. So when you hear that there are drug seizures at the airport, so they are these people who have seized the prohibited items. They are also responsible for revenue collection, so as we mentioned, the collection of customs duty, excise duty, and the economic function is all about the trade facilitation, right? So when we are speaking of protection, so we have our people, we have our customs officers who are posted at the border, so they are at the port and at the airport, right? Customs make use of other equipment, for instance, scanners, which may detect drugs concealed in body parts, concealed in the body, inhaled
Every day, our borders are tested. At the Port Louis Cruise Terminal, one of the country's main gateways, vigilance is not an option, it is a necessity. Drug trafficking is a real and present threat. Smugglers exploit every opportunity, hiding narcotics on their bodies or concealing them internally, putting our society, our youth and our future at risk. To meet this challenge, MRA Customs has taken a decisive step forward. Since the beginning of December 2025, MRA Customs is equipped with a state-of-the-art full-body X-ray transmission scanner at the Port Louis Cruise Terminal. This new scanner adds to the full-body X-ray transmission scanner already operational at the SSR International Airport. This advanced technology enables rapid, non-intrusive detection of drugs concealed on or inside the human body, significantly strengthening border controls at this critical port of entry. Technology alone is not enough. That is why MRA Customs officers are trained to operate this equipment effectively and responsibly. Used alongside other non-intrusive inspection equipment, this scanner enhances MRA's capacity to combat not only drug trafficking but also money laundering and the financing of terrorism. This 8 million rupee investment is more than just equipment. It is a firm commitment to national security, an investment in prevention, an investment in safety, an investment in the future of Mauritius. Together, we protect our borders. Together, we protect our people. Together, we protect our future.
So we've got 16 dogs working actually operationally in MRA. They are deployed at border airports, so at the airport and in the port area. Also, we deploy our dogs in all courier services. So basically what comes in must go first through us and then to you.
Right. So, Mr. Takoya is with us. We have another agent working with you. Agent, don't sniff. Vous avez ici, don't sniff. Don't go by his name. Names don't sniff, but he can sniff anything.
So we've got today canine animal called Nakre of 8 years. He's been involved in numerous cases of drugs and other illicit products. And today we'll try to simulate the airport situation whereby luggages come in and then we do the sniffing operation. Let's go. Stop it. Good boy.
Can you tell us what is happening, Agent Jack, please?
So, Kenai Nakre has reacted to this luggage. Then, as a customs officer, let's check and see what's in. Oh. As you can see, this is our sample of cannabis. Smells cannabis. Good dog. Good job.
So as you have noticed, so a round of applause for Nakre. So let's do another testing.
Unleash.
Let's see if the dog can detect currency, right? So why currency? You are allowed to take currency with you, but not over 500,000.
Hello?
So Sylvie is handing over, as you can see, the 1,000 banknote, which the agent is putting in one particular bag.
Go this one. So NACRE is trained to detect currency, and obviously he will detect huge amount of money. But today we'll try to see if you can detect one banknote. So bear with her if there is some difficulties. Wait. I say, bah. I say, good job, baby. Good dog. So as you can see, even one banknote. Yeah, still here. One banknote.
Yeah, so as you can see, because there's no point in getting one banknote, as we said, if you don't have the right to carry more than 500,000 in whichever currency we are speaking. And I presume it is a used packet, so maybe only a few cigarettes in it. So Agent Boyer has put the packet of cigarette in the bag. And let's check NACRE now.
Let's go. Say bravo, doggy. Good job, baby. Good job. Doggy. So this is it. Think the cigarettes are here.
So as you can see, our canine dogs are being trained. So they are able to detect currencies, drugs, and cigarettes. So even how many? 4 cigarettes?
There's 5 sticks.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Agent Boyer and Agent Don't Sniff. Also, NACRE canine dog. So a round of applause for our team. Presentation. So before we end, we have a small segment that we have added, a rapid fire segment. So I'm going to ask a few questions, and those who are going to answer, I'm going to give one pen, MRA pen, to show our commitment towards the youth. So on behalf of the MRA, we are able to give that pen. So you will have only 5 seconds to raise your hands. So our team is here. So whoever raise your hand, so we are going to take the first 3 participants who raises their hand. So the first question is, which country, so listen up, which country was ranked 10th on the Be Ready 2025 index? We just showed the table there. Which country was ranked 10th in the Be Ready 2025 index? 1, okay, 2. We have 2 here. We have 2.
Was it Singapore?
And the next other question?
Estonia?
Yeah. So Estonia is the right answer.
In which year VAT was introduced in Mauritius, and during that first year, what was the rate applied? So the first rate, in which year VAT was introduced, and during that first year, what was the rate applied? Okay, who answered? In which year? It was in 1998 that VAT was introduced in Mauritius. So prior to that, there was sales tax. Right? So in 1988, VAT was introduced, and during the first year, the tax rate was 10%. So from 10, it came to 12, and now we are actually 15%. The fourth question, what is the total contribution in the consolidated fund by the MRA since its operation in 2006. The total contribution that went in the consolidated fund. Number one. No, we were speaking since the beginning of the MRA. And so, since 2006, how much you believe we may have contributed to the consolidated fund? We are going to take even India answer. So, a last one. The last answer. Okay. So, since we have started operations in 2006, MRA has contributed more than 1 trillion. 1 trillion in the consolidated fund. Up to now. So, outside that. I'm just going to have an idea. So, in fact, we are a bit sad because we want to give span to everyone. So, I'm going to give you a more easy question to try to answer. So, who is the Director General of the MRA? Who? Yeah. So, I can see that most of you know the answer. So, yeah. So, on behalf of the MRA and the Director General of MRA, and in the name of the board members who are one representing here today, I have the pleasure and honor to offer each and every one present in this room one MRA pen. Okay. So you can get your pen and at the same time listen here. So we have nearly reached the end of our event. So we have the next segment is about the question and answer. Question and answers. So in case you have any questions that you want to ask, we have our technicians here from VAT, from tax, from customs. So if you have anything to ask, feel free. Any questions that you have in terms of the MRA? So let's go with the questions. So any question? Questions, please? Questions? Even from the teachers? Students? You will feel the feedback home later on.
Est-ce que vous utilisez l'intelligence artificielle MRA dans vos calculs?
Okay, the question is whether we are using artificial intelligence at the MRA. So let me tell you that we have an IS department, we mentioned earlier in our presentation. In the IS department, we have moved from machine learning to artificial intelligence. Well, and in fact, we have what we call a chatbot, which is present on our website. So whatever questions that you may have, you may ask that through the chatbot, but for the time being, it is only for individual taxpayers. But later on, we are going to enhance the service and to offer it to the other category of taxpayers as well. Right? So yes, we have embarked in artificial intelligence. Any other question, please?
Bonjour, laisse-moi faire un micro, je peux la journée de Margot. La conférence était vraiment intéressante. J'ai appris comment les impôts sont collectés et pourquoi ils sont importants pour le développement du pays. Les explications étaient claires et faciles à comprendre. Cette visite m'a permis de mieux comprendre le système fiscal à Maurice et m'a aussi donné une meilleure idée des carrières possibles dans ce domaine. Merci.
Thank Next we have Anna from West Coast.
Good morning, respected elders and fellow students. I hope you're all well. This speech is dedicated to everyone who made our visit to the Mauritius Revenue Authority possible. We're truly grateful for the time, effort, and careful planning you invested in accommodating our school alongside other schools and ensuring that this experience was both informative and memorable. We extend our warmest gratitude for the privilege of learning such valuable information. The knowledge shared with us today about taxation has given us a clearer understanding of how important institutions function and the role they play in Mauritius's development. This has been an enriching experience that will without doubt benefit us as we prepare for our future career paths. We would like to mention that the inclusion of the dogs is a particularly interesting and engaging part of the visit. It added a unique and memorable dimension to our learning experience. Once again, thank you sincerely for your generosity, dedication, and for inspiring us throughout this journey.
I have a pleasure to now call Ria from Loreto Quebec to share her experience.
I think it's important to spread awareness of tax as it is an inevitable part of life, and learning about the process gives us more insight on how our tax contributions are being used and how they help our country provide facilities. On behalf of Loreto Quebec, we are all very grateful for the presentation you have taken the time to give us. Thank you.
We also have Ms. Brady Papadou from Foresight SSS.
Good morning, everyone. So, thank you for us being back here. It is a pleasure for us to be part of the MRA educational tour. This helps us be responsible for tomorrow to learn about how taxing in Mauritius and how responsible we can act. Also, this will help us to advocate and support our future generation.
So those are the names of the reports that we have received. So if I don't have any of the participants from other colleges who want to intervene, so feel free. Anyone from any other college who want to say something or share your experience, you are free to do it. So you have a good society from
Good morning, respected officers, teachers, and fellow students. On behalf of our school, FBSSS, we would like to express our sincere gratitude for giving us this wonderful opportunity to visit your institution. This visit has been very informative and interesting. We learned about the important role you play in collecting taxes and how this contributes to the development of our country and to also us. Your clear explanations help us understand everything better. We truly appreciate your warm welcome, your effort and time for guiding us. This experience has been very valuable and memorable for all of us. Once again, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank the MRA for receiving us here today. And I found the speech and the presentation very helpful and clear. They also considered Gen Z's short attention span, which was really nice, not having to sit through a boring speech. The use of audios and visuals were really helpful. So, a big thank you to all of you.
Bonjour à tous. Peut-être on va se mettre un petit peu debout pour se relaxer un petit peu et que je vais vous parler 2 secondes. Ça décompresse un petit peu l'atmosphère. D'accord? Et j'ai l'impression que je ne parle pas votre voix. Faites du bruit, faites un petit peu de bruit là. Je suis sourd, j'en parle, faites du bruit. Ça y est. Merci pour vous asseoir maintenant. Alors, au nom du board de la MRA, ça nous fait vraiment plaisir de vous accueillir ce matin. Et c'est bien que vous avez pris connaissance comment on fonctionne, quelle est la MRA. Et je suis sûr que ça me fait un clic. Vous avez pas réalisé que vous aussi vous contribuez tous les jours dans la moi, ça me fait tout mon téléphone là. Il y a 15 outils qui va sur la taxe de la TVA. D'accord? Et ça, c'est une chose. Vous avez déjà commencé à contribuer. Et on va expliquer exactement que l'argent ne vient pas, que l'argent sert à des bonnes causes aussi. C'est vrai que certaines fois, il y a des trucs, mais l'argent sert à des bonnes causes. Vous avez vu la démonstration en ce qui s'agit de détection, comme les chiens peuvent vérifier les trucs classiques. Bon, on est content, vous avez vu ce matin. Vous avez vu l'argent que l'État